I have remarked on more than one video that I love the Monkey Island series. It's number one on my top 3 list of the best adventure games for the computer. Now before someone asks, like I'm sure you will, what are the other 2? That would be Pandora's Directive and Majestic. If you're one of the 7 people who actually know what Majestic is, you might think it's not a point-and-click adventure game. But it does technically qualify as one, since you had to point and click on the websites to solve the puzzles. But if you're like most of the world and you don't have a clue what Majestic is, it was an online adventure game where you have to help a bunch of programmers who have stumbled onto a government conspiracy. And you have to help them uncover the truth and help them stay one step ahead of the people who are trying to kill them. The game was only out for about 8 months before it was canceled. While it was short on daily content, the concept of the game was quite intriguing. Think of the movie The Game mixed in with Enemy of the State, and you'd have the basic layout of this game. You would need to explore real websites for clues. You would get real phone calls and faxes from the on-the-run programmers. And you used AOL Instant Messenger as a way of keeping in contact with the other players in this game. I wish I could express how much fun it was figuring out the puzzles and doing stuff in real life to solve the mystery. Unfortunately, the game was canceled before any resolution to the story could be reached, so that's a bummer. And I can't even replay the previous chapters, since EA is taking it offline. Sorry for going off on that tangent. Let's go back to Monkey Island. It has almost been 10 years since a new Monkey Island title has been released. The last one was Escape from Monkey Island, and it was drastically different from the other 3. However, monkey combat aside, it wasn't bad, just underwhelming. So I was very excited to hear that Telltale was taking a shot at this series, especially when I saw the great job they did with the Sam & Max and Strong Bad franchises. Let's start off by talking about the worst thing about the game, the translation from the computer game to the WiiWare title. The port of this game is just awful. There are game crashes, terrible frame rates, and I didn't like the way the menus were set up. The lag is almost intolerable at times. This is definitely a problem when you're dealing with the Monkey Island series, as it's common to go back and forth to locations often. So you can't really save time by doing everything you need to do on your first time. If this was Telltale's first Wii game, I could excuse it, but this is the 6th one. And I didn't see any of these problems with the Strong Bad series. So why was it so hard to do with the Monkey Island games? Did Telltale try and push the limits of the Wii too much? Or was it just the limitations of the Wii that made the port really bad? My guess it's probably the latter. There was one thing I really liked about the controls, and that was that you can use the nunchuck to move your main character around. After using the point-and-click controls in the Strong Bad WiiWare titles, I always thought it was weird that they never used the nunchuck to move around the character. I guess they got enough requests for that, since they made it an option in this game. The story is about Guybrush Threepwood, who is sailing the ocean trying to find his arch-nemesis LeChuck, who has kidnapped his wife Elaine. The beginning parts with the 3 main characters of the Monkey Island series was great, but unfortunately that part only lasts about 10 minutes. After that, you're on an unescapable island, because the winds make any ship that tries to leave come back to the island. Guybrush is going to need to find out the cause of the crazy winds, and find a vessel to escape the island, and finally Chuck again. There was an amusing plotline about how Guybrush's hand had turned evil and he has to find a way to control it. Unfortunately, I think that was the only thing really amusing in this whole chapter. The new characters were lame and too crazy for even the Monkey Island series. The puzzles were harder than you may have played in the Strong Bad games, but that's a staple of the Monkey Island series. Crazy and hard puzzles. And this one doesn't disappoint, but they do tend to get a little tedious at times. There isn't much replay factor in this game, other than wanting to replay a Monkey Island game. There's about a 20 to 30 minute treasure hunt game where you have to find treasures. There are only a few of them to find, and then you were done. It was simple and very easy, and I doubt most people will even bother to complete this section. Tales of Monkey Island Chapter 1, the launch of the Screaming Narwhal, was a disappointing start to this new series. The main story of the chapter wasn't particularly interesting, plus the gameplay issues in the translation from the computer game to the WiiWare title was done very poorly, and overall it just felt like the game was rushed. However, since I'm a huge Monkey Island fan, I can't ever see myself not saying to buy this, but I will warn you this chapter is a bit dry. But if you're a Monkey Island fan, you'll still enjoy it to see all your favorite characters in action again. But if you have a choice, I would go with the computer version this time around. But if you don't have a choice, you should download it now.